guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new IDontWorkHereLady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled, Husband Goes Full Drill Sergeant on a Karen. Before I start this story, I have to tell you about my husband. I'm French and we met while he was on vacation in Europe. One thing led to another and now I live in Ohio with him. He is a hard-working gentleman, an Army veteran of 2 conflicts, and thought he has a very serious and almost hostile demeanor. Think resting idiot face, but angrier and on a guy. He is a big teddy bear, quick to make a joke or pull a prank and easy to laugh. He is also very protective of me. Since I'm not here to gush on him, I'll go on. We were out getting groceries last week. As we were checking out, I was bagging up all our stuff because the store now requires that you bag your own goods if you bring your own bags. No big deal. He pays, and I stay to help a very elderly lady behind him bag her groceries and put them in her cart. He had helped her unload them, and we offered to help her put them in her car. She shuffles away from the register and I move to follow. As I turn away, I hear behind me, "Where the hell do you think you're going?" I turned to see a very angry-looking woman glaring at me. I told her politely that I didn't work at the store and I had just helped the elderly lady to be polite and that I was now leaving with my husband to go home. I had never met an American Karen before, so I thought this would be the end of it. I turned to walk away and feel a vice grip on my arm. "Don't be lazy. Just do your job and help bag my groceries." I didn't even have time to respond. She had barely finished speaking when my husband wrenched her hand off me and was yelling in her face. This was the first time in the 10 years we've been together that I saw the old soldier come out. His nose might have been 3 inches from hers, and his voice was loud and frightening. "Who the duck do you think you are? How dare put your hands on my wife? She told you she doesn't work here. Are you too ducking stupid to understand simple English? Go pay for your crap. Bag your own damn groceries, and don't you dare utter another ducking sound." But the silence after that was intense. A store full of people could hear a pin drop. The look on her face wasn't even angry, it was pure terror. She shuffled back to her aisle and waited for the cashier. My husband went to the old lady and said, "I'm so sorry you had to hear all that, ma'am. I apologize if my language was offensive. I hope you will still allow us to help you load your groceries into your car." It was surreal, like he had just flipped on a switch and flipped it back off. Also, we got chased down by the store manager, who suggested we could be banned because of the yelling and bad language. Husband just shrugged and said they had better ban the Karen too for assaulting me, and that there are other grocery stores in town. We just go to this one because it's close, didn't get banned. The next story is titled, Some Crazy Lady Screamed at Me for Not Helping Her at Walmart. Okay, look, so I normally visit Costco to get my groceries, but when I went there was a big-ass number of people and no parking spaces available. So I noticed the Walmart next door, so I just go there instead, since I'd only have to get a couple things, big mistake. So I guess apparently my clothes look somewhat like a Walmart employee's clothes. I didn't think so, but this lady did. So I get the stuff I need and I enjoy collecting Lego sets, so I go into the Lego aisle and I choose to get a fire truck. I'm about to leave, but then this lady aggressively grabs me from behind. Now that I think about it, she was probably on something, and she says in an obnoxious tone, "You, where are the toy guns?" I then proceeded to tell her, "I'm sorry, but I don't work here." She then aggressively tells me fine, and I tell her, "Sheesh, you don't need to be so rude." Then she turns around and says, "Excuse me," and I say, "You don't need to be so rude" again. So then she starts freaking out and says, "Do you know who you're talking to?" And I just try to walk away. Then she starts freaking out even more, starts screaming and yelling, "Security, come here." So I tell her to please STFU, and she ducking spits on me and calls me an idiot like WTF is wrong with her. So then security comes over. I tell them my side of the story and how she spat on me, and she says that I was being an a-hole. So then the manager apologized and crazy lady got arrested because spitting on someone turns out to be considered assault. Anyway, crazy Karen is now at the police station and I'm here telling this story. Well, yeah, also I'm never shopping at Walmart again. That place is crazy. The next story is titled, Had to Tell an Ex-Employer I Don't Work for You. For years after quitting. So I worked for a home care agency and was assigned to an independent living facility. Mostly just med reminders and housekeeping. The company I worked for was shady AF. So much happened I'm surprised I stayed as long as I did, but I'll stick to what's relevant here. This may be long. So Cliff Notes, they cut my hours on days/evening to the point I lost my benefits. I took the full-time nights posting. It was just me and one other girl switching off 12 HR nights 4 days, 1 week, 3 the next. 11 p.m., 11 a.m. It was great and I loved it. Work was easy and I still got to see my residents. I usually got there at 1:30 p.m. to get report from the evening workers so she could leave by 11. My duties all night were get report, sign out keys, organize that day's paperwork, set the dining room for the next day, do like 4 people's laundry, had access to 5 washers and 5 dryers, and do room checks on like 10 people every 2 hours, pop my head and make sure they weren't on the floor, and answer any emergency pages. Everything but checks and pages were done by 3 a.m., sometimes 2 a.m. Well, they hired a guy and decided to give him 2 of my shifts and 2 of the other girls' shifts. I was in charge of training him and had to sign off before he worked independently. I wasn't impressed but said fine. First shift he shows up at 4 a.m. Shift starts at 11, work's now done, go home. Next shift 7 a.m. he comes in, same thing. Next 2 were no-shows. Then finally showed up. He was awful. I started looking for another job and found one quickly. I tried for 4 days to hand in my 2-week resignation. Supervisor isn't available, office is locked, on a Tuesday at 10 a.m., so I dropped it in their mailbox, and when they called me I told them the date stated would be my last day. Fast forward 2 weeks. I get called to go in. I explain I quit, why I quit, and that I don't work for the company anymore. Repeat this sporadically over the next 2.5 years. I got calls at all hours. I called the area coordinator, the regional coordinator, always being assured it won't happen again. My final straw was a 4 a.m. phone call 3 years after I quit from the after-hours scheduler. Lost. My crap. Called corporate and made them delete my number and file and told them I haven't worked for you for 3 ducking years. The lack of having any schedule should have been a ducking clue. Your company calls me again and I'll file harassment charges. Figure your ducking crap out and stop ducking calling me. I don't work for you and I'm out. Been a year now and I think it finally worked. The next story is titled, Karen Recommended I Be Fired from the Dollar Store. I was in a dollar store trying to check out but delayed because Karen was busy complaining to the cashier about the quality of the products in the dollar store. To which I said, Karen, if you don't like the quality here, then go somewhere more upscale like Walmart, or if you got the budget, Target. She then asked for a manager, cause that's what Karens do. Manager came in for the next solid 2 minutes. She was complaining to the manager about how her staff was very rude and suggested she should shop at Walmart or Target, how insane it is to hire staff that promotes the competition. The cashier is smirking. I'm smiling from ear to ear. Karen finishes off with, if I was you I'd fire such an employee. To which the manager said, which employee said that? To which Karen and the cashier all pointed at me. They're standing with a My Coke and a bag of chips. To which the manager goes, Mrs. He's not an employee. To which Karen goes, then why is he here? Manager looks at me and looks at her and goes, buying stuff. The next story is titled, I Might Be Going to Facebook Jail. I was at Walmart the other day looking at Christmas decorations, which are displayed in a main aisle right across from the electronics department, where I used to work. I haven't in about 3 years, but occasionally I'll get recognized. I'm guessing this is one of those times because I was dressed in all black, nothing even remotely blue. Anyway, I hear a sharp female voice right behind me. I turn around and there's Karen, 478 millionth of her name, seller of LuLaRoe, self-styled entrepreneur, and drinker of vodka from water bottles at her darling Jackson's soccer games. Karen, where are the kitchen utensils? Me, in the home lines area. It's up front by the pharmacy. I said this out of pure reflex. I was so used to customers asking me where things were that I think I'll always respond immediately by telling them exactly where to look. Karen, I know that. I was just up there and couldn't find them. Me? Well, that's where they are. Excuse me. I moved to get past her, which was difficult because she maneuvered her cart so that it was pretty much blocking all foot traffic in the busiest part of the store. To my surprise, she actually moved. She had a strange look on her face though, kind of a deer in the headlights, with a lot of rapid blinking. When I walked past, I noticed her taking out her phone and dipping down a side aisle, and Miss Thing was hustling. Oh Lord! I wasn't sure what was about to happen, but I knew it was going to be loud. I was walking down another aisle when she bursts out in front of me, slightly out of breath, and holding her phone out in front of her, like she was talking on speaker with who I assumed was the customer service line. She was like Kyle Fuller with hot flashes and an iPhone. Karen, at Walmart. Oh look, here she is. Come here. She points and beckons at me. Me? No. I was honestly confused at what was happening. I owe this woman exactly none of my time. She comes up to me instead. Karen, say hi to Facebook. What's your name? She said this with a slightly manic, slightly smug look of someone who has very clearly just found the hill she is willing to die on. This idiot was recording me in a Facebook Live video. Me? Hi Facebook. Why are you friends with her? Karen. No, she's got a sense of humor. She won't tell me her name. This is the city Walmart. Today is December 17, 2018 at 10:30 p.m. I don't remember the exact day or time, but that sounds right. Then she ended the video. Karen, I have you on video. I will be sharing this with the city Walmart's Facebook page. Have a good day. She drew out the last word in a sing-songy voice, with what I can only describe as a slasher smile. It's now 2 days later, and as far as I know, Walmart doesn't really conduct investigations through Facebook, so I think I'm safe, guys. The next story is titled Truancy Officer Thinks I'm a HS Student. My family moved to the South after I graduated HS, so my brother had 2 years left, and they do block scheduling for classes. All that means is some days he'd get out of school earlier than what we did at our old HS. I ought to pick him up from school. It's a 3 HR bus ride or 15 min if I pick him up. One day about 1 p, and I'm waiting out in my car in the pickup area kinda near the doors. Here comes Truancy Officer. Truancy Officer. Excuse me, miss, but school isn't out yet. You should be in class. Me. I graduated HS already. I'm here picking up my younger brother. He gets out around 1:15-1:30 p. Truancy Officer. I've seen you here before. You need to be in class. What's your name? I show him my ID, out of state. Truancy Officer. I know the last name. You do go here. Come inside to the office. Me. Well, obviously, brother and I would have the same last name. We're siblings. I go in because 1. I don't want to keep having this issue every time I pick him up. 2. I do need to collect brother, as we both have to go to work. Diff jobs, thank God. We make our way to the office, where Truancy Officer tells him to look up my name. Office lady, we don't have a student by that name. We do have another student with same last name. Truancy Officer. That's her then. She just gave me the wrong name on purpose. Office lady, the other student is male, sir. She doesn't go here. Me. That would be my brother. Could you page him for me? Truancy Officer. No, I've seen her here before. She goes to school here. Office lady, sir, she doesn't go here. We have no record of any student with her name. Leave her be. Brother arrives to the office, looking confused. Brother. Hey sis, you ready to go? Truancy Officer. See? She does go here. Why would she know students if she doesn't? Brother. My sister is here to pick me up from school. She isn't in the system because she is not a student. Truancy Officer. But I see her every day out. See? Brother turns to office lady and asks if we are okay to dip out. She says yes, so we skedaddle. As we're leaving, we can hear office lady trying to explain to Truancy Officer that all current students are in the system, and that if he brings in one more random person that he sees outside every day, claiming they're a student, she's gonna file a complaint on him. Brother, I've only been going here for a month, and I already know that guy is a moron. The next story is titled, I'm Not Your Waitress. I'm Your Son's Girlfriend. This was something that happened a lot while ago when I first started dating my now fiancé. It came up in conversation the other day as my fiancé's best man was threatening to put it in his speech, much to the embarrassment of my soon-to-be mother-in-law. My fiancé and I met at university, many miles away from his home city. We were in some of the same classes and romance blossomed. We'd been a couple for a few months when he said that his parents were coming to see him and wanted to meet me as well. The plan was for us to all go out for dinner together the evening they arrived. However, my boyfriend had an unmissable meeting scheduled just before we were meant to be leaving. We decided that I'd go ahead and meet them and be interrogated, and my boyfriend would try to hurry up the meeting and go straight from there. I caught the bus into town. However, it was just my luck that it broke down halfway through the journey, meaning that I was about 15 minutes behind schedule. I caught my boyfriend just before his meeting to tell him, and he passed on the message to his parents, who replied almost instantly saying that they were already in the restaurant, and gave the location of their table so I could just join them when I got there. This restaurant was fancy-ish. You definitely wear smart casual clothing to dine there, and staff were all in similar dress of white shirt/blouse, pressed trousers, and smart shoes. I was wearing the smartest dress I had, that which was a dark red, definitely not uniform. I get there 10-ish minutes late and a little bit sweaty and out of breath, and spotted my boyfriend's parents. I'd seen pictures of them, so I knew what they looked like, sitting on a table. I put on a "don't let them know you're nervous" smile and walked over there. This is the conversation that followed. Me: "Hi there, sorry I'm late. It's lovely to meet you." Mill: "Oh, someone's already taken our drinks order. We'll be ready to order food when the rest of our party get here." Me: "I'm at your waitress on my name. Fiancé's name as girlfriend. Sorry for being late." My poor future mother-in-law turned the color of my red dress. She apologized for a good 2 minutes while my future father-in-law had a fit of the giggles. It was not the most conventional way of meeting the in-laws, but it definitely broke the ice. It wasn't brought up when my boyfriend arrived, but I mentioned it afterwards, and it made him laugh too. Although it didn't have any lasting effect, my MIL definitely doesn't want this announced at our wedding. The next story is titled, "I'm not robbing this house, and I'm not a gardener either. This is my own house." We moved into a new house a few years ago. 2 days after we get settled in, it's a gorgeous day, so I'm out tending the garden. If you live in Louisiana, you'll realize that nice days are few and far in between. It's hot and muggy. About 30 minutes after I start, this woman walks beside the house. She compliments my garden and asks how much my services cost. So I told her, "Ma'am, I don't do services." About this time, my husband walks out and puts something into the car. So all's perfectly fine, right? No. This woman decides to call the police and tell them we are robbing the place. I don't know if her watching my husband caused that thinking as he was pulling stuff out of the house and into the vehicle or what. We were new neighbors, moved in like a few days prior, so you'd think she would have seen us moving. 3 cops show up a few minutes after she left. We didn't know she called the cops. They pull up while both of us are wondering what the hell happened. Maybe someone we knew died or our kid got arrested. Neither. They said we were called in as an active burglar. We had to prove it was ours. She couldn't even talk to us about or mention robbery. Although I guess in the moment, she just lost it. People are crazy here. The next story is titled, "I Don't Work Here, Lady." Now, you owe me an apology. I was at a major electronics store known for their blue polo shirts. I just got off work at a warehouse and had a blue t-shirt on. I was in looking at movies when I heard a woman snapping her fingers right at my face and in an angry, loud tone, "Excuse me." I slowly turned to see a middle-aged woman standing there in a pissed-off pose glaring at me. "You need to go get whatever item she was looking for from the back." It was only then I realized what has happened. I quietly replied that I didn't work there, which just set her off in a rage. Now, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was along the lines of, "Listen here, you stupid idiot. I know you do work here. You have a blue shirt on. Why are you so ducking lazy? I'm gonna get you fired. Where's your manager?" Now, I usually don't yell at people, but something about her just pissed me off. "Listen here, lady. I don't work here. Just because I'm wearing a blue shirt doesn't mean that I'm a customer. Now, leave me alone." It was at that point that a real employee came over to see what the fuss was about. She saw this employee and demanded to see a manager. It was less than a minute when the manager came over to talk to her. "Yes. How may I help you?" The lady screamed about my incompetence and demanded I apologize to her before I was fired. I looked at the manager and shook my head. The manager looked at me in a bewildered state and said to the lady, "Ma'am, he doesn't work here. Just because he has a blue t-shirt on doesn't mean he works here. Now, I will get you an employee to help you." He turned to lead the lady to lead her away, but I wanted one thing first. "Excuse me, but I want one thing first." I looked directly at the woman in the eye and said, "You owe me an apology." The woman looked around in a bewildered state. The manager looked surprised but said nothing. The woman turned to a sheepish look while mumbled her, "I'm sorry." If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.